Hi, my name's Izzy. I run a brand called Vivas Y Muerto, and I'm so excited to present to you my business and kind of where I started and also where it is now. So let's get right into it. So to begin, I listed my mission statement here, but I'm not going to read through it all. But basically, the premise of my business is a socially engaged design company that focuses on sustainability, education, and community. Those three things are really important in not only creating a brand that's unique to me, but also like making sure that people have and are buying things that are meaningful and not just indulging in consumerism, which is kind of the next point that I get to next is, so like, what's the big deal? I know that we've heard a lot of conversation about sustainability, eco-friendly, but a lot of people aren't actually aware of like what happens and what are the consequences of fast fashion. So main cause being like, okay, people want really cool, trendy things, and they don't really know how the production goes or, how companies are able to offer such cheap prices. And in that, there is a consequence of, pollution, unethical labor in like different countries from outsourcing. There's soil depletion, overuse of water consumption for dyes, chemicals, different like polyesters and plastics, and then of course the fast fashion industry being the second leading pollutant and overfilling landfills. So where my business kind of steps into this cycle is, thinking about where we're sourcing material and so like looking at different thrift stores, people giving me donations. Honestly, dumpster diving is probably one of my favorite things to do because one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? So in that, there's also this element of collaboration with local businesses, like uh, other vintage companies, or even like places like Scraps KC, that their whole business model focuses on donation and donating craft supplies and running their facilities on that. So trying to keep my resources as local as possible to also like avoid for international shipping or just like emissions in general. And then also with that, since I do get a lot of my supplies at a really affordable price, I'm able to offer that to my audience or to consumers that are wanting to buy my products. So I don't have to upcharge them like $100 for a pair of earrings. And the prices that my earrings are at are very similar to like brand new earrings from like Forever 21 or H&M. I mean, they're not $5, but they're definitely not $100. But I think I reach a nice middle ground between letting my consumers know that they are getting a really nice quality piece of work for a really nice price that doesn't break their bank. And this also kind of like makes the idea of sustainability a lot more palatable and not a wallet breaker for a lot of people. So uh, kind of tying back to like what makes me unique and what makes this brand like different than just another like eco-friendly thing is I focus on partnerships, and education is really important for me. So for example, this next collection I have coming up, it's called like the Bee Project, and they're going to be like little bee earrings, but alongside of those earrings, they're going to be an educational pamphlet that goes alongside of that, so that way people understand like the importance of bees within like crop pollination and also like different types of elements and contributions that bees make to our own ecosystem and why that's important. So from there, I would get a lot of insight from different organizations, nonprofits that focus on specific like areas that I would be focusing on. For example, KC Farm School is another partner that I'm working on in this current project called Grassroots, which I'll get to later. And then also this idea of a nomadic brick and mortar store. So it kind of takes away from just like a stationary store, but going from location to location. So that way my works of art can be adaptive and specific to this area or community that I'm going to be working with. So in the topic of collaboration, this is a collaboration that I did with Rose Vervain Vintage and Kyle Gross. Kyle Gross is a photographer, and basically what we did is I worked with Megan and Kyle and Coral, who's the model, to build an editorial style that features both of our brands, like me and Megan's brand. So that way, like, it has a different approach to vintage and thrifting, and it's not just like, oh, hand-me-downs, but there's this glamour to it that people can really appreciate. So then packaging is also a really big thing for me. I love packaging. I think it's really fun, but at the same time, it's one of the main things that are being wasted when you do receive something. So I try to make sure that every element of my business and what I do is in consideration to sustainability and thinking about, like, where is this going to go and what's the lifespan after it. And so this company, Eco Enclose, is what I use for my packaging supplies, and then just refraining away from plastics and more gearing towards like biodegradable material. And so another thing that I do to kind of get people to interact with me is social media is something that's really important. And social media is also a domain that is palatable and familiar. So that way I can also interact with the people that I'm selling to, and it's not just like, hey, I'm this mysterious person selling these things, but rather, like, there's a face to it. And I really like interacting with people and hearing what they have to say. So on this left one, I did a giveaway where people would like tell me like their favorite method of like recycling, or telling me like what they do in their own life. So that way, like, we get that conversation going, but there's also this element of like giving away to my viewers as a thank you for their support. So transparency is also another really important thing. And then, so I do Slurry, but this brand is growing very quickly. So, which is really exciting, but also kind of nerve-wracking. And so this is a picture of these like plant holders that me and my partner made from recycled like cedar wood. So basically it was in the scrap pile, and no one really wants it because it was also split, but we were like, oh wait, there's potential in this. So we made some really cool plant holders, and this kind of focuses on the relationship with plants, and like kind of they're like mobile plant walkers, so you can kind of take them around with you, and they're textured so that way there's this like level of tactility, and you're rebuilding that relationship that you have with nature. So nature is like a motif that is super, super important to me. And as I mentioned before, I'm currently working on a project called Grassroots, where it focuses on generating a community within Kansas City and also other sustainable businesses. So what my part in that is creating a guidebook for people to buy, and in buying that book, it's actually fundraising for the KC Farm School to pay for the supplies of their ceramic and art workshops that they have. And then in turn, the businesses that are contributing, like Daisy Lee Vintage, Arizona Trading Company, the Soap Refill Station, these are all businesses that their morals also align with mine. So we're kind of this like collective like community in this little book for people to be like, well, I want to shop sustainable, but like, where do I start? That's always kind of the question that I get with a lot of people wanting to be involved in this like green movement, but never really having a guidebook. So I'm providing that while also like giving homage to these retail businesses, and then fundraising for a nonprofit organization like KC Farm School. So even though I did start off as jewelry, this is something that I feel really passionate about in terms of sustainable retail and sustainable consumerism, because that is the future. I mean, we have to think about what we choose to indulge in every day, and I think this is just like another element of what this brand can and will be. So yeah, thank you so much. Again, I'm Izzy, and I run Vivas Y Muerto. You guys can follow me on Instagram at Vivas Y Muerto, and I look forward to hearing from some new people. Thank you.